next surf report is going down right after this little introduction. I'm Chris McCleary, National Dream Center. I do these surf reports periodically. If you're new here, be sure to look at the notes below and you can see a beginner's guide. We're going to be using both sets of astrology. We're going to be going into the DreamBot. If any one of those things is new to you, please see the beginner's video. Otherwise, let's progress and let's zoom in on this DreamBot run. All right, the red is very, very interesting. At first, I thought it was like service, you know, like you're tipping the waiter and you're tending to something. So it's very service oriented, but then it gets into loved. And so I grouped everything in here, and it's more than just love. It's like getting love, like chasing is in there, and like teddy bear is in there. So it's very, very intimate, but also service, and it's all connected. And then, so I'm thinking like Venus in that regard. And then in addition, we have the blue arrows is collective and multicultural. So you have different cultures like Muslim and Mexico, but you also have like mall. That's where lots of different people hang out. And there's ocean. Everybody's like, the ocean is affected by everyone, and everyone affects the common waters of the ocean. So anyway, it's collective is the blue. So a collective, Aquarius. Look at this. You have Venus over here in Aquarius, tropical Aquarius. Bizarre. So why don't I have any lines going to Venus then? Well, notice that it's the 11th. I'm doing the video on the 10th in the evening, and there is an aspect right now. The moon happens to be in a square with Venus, but there's also going to be another aspect to Venus on the 13th, and that's after our next surf report. So I didn't put it here, but there's going to be moon's going to progress and have a trine with Venus on the 13th. So there is a lot to do with Venus. Venus being very social relationships, intimacy, that sort of thing. And if it's squared up right now, actually probably in about 2 hours, I think, 10:42 p.m. Central. And again, we are on the stupid daylight savings time thing. But anyway, that's happening tonight, and it might feel like, you're wishing for relationship, or you're struggling with a relationship, or you're trying to work things out and it's not working, or there's some sort of emotional block there. That's a square, and that's just tonight. It's very fleeting because the moon's going to be quickly moving on to Mars tomorrow. So now we have this slide here. The 11th is at 9:23 a.m. Central Time. The moon is going to conjunct Mars. And that's pretty cool. That's a sexy and brave and, take no prisoners, taking the initiative and acting with passion, quick instincts. And that's going to be afforded to you throughout the morning, but even more so in the evening. Then we've got the moon with a sextile to the sun. And so that's pretty much the same. I mean, you feel like socializing, you're inner balanced, and so you're not teetering one way or the other, and so it's okay to socialize and all that. So that's still a part of this kind of Venus social thing. So social seems to be the meme here, despite tomorrow not really having any Venus things here going on, or any alignments. But let's look at Tuesday then. And this meme continues because the moon at really early in the morning, 3:26 a.m., the moon's going to make a sextile over to Mercury. Now, of course, Mercury is in retrograde. So when we say mood for talking, you will be in the mood for talking if you're awake. And check your dreams. Your dreams might be having this influence as well. So you might be trying to talk to other people, but with Mercury retrograde, kind of having a hard time finding the words. So the feeling is there. The feeling is about interacting socially, but maybe words come slow, or maybe the wrong words come out, or that sort of thing, to include the Mercury retrograde. But still, the socializing is there. And guess what? As soon as most of us are awake, the moon is going to pass into tropical Gemini. And that's everything we just stated, except for there's no retrograde in there. This is just Gemini influence. Okay. So all the things we just said, feel like socializing, we're quick-witted and all that. And, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. And so we have basically the continuance of this aspect all day. And so Monday and Tuesday become pretty much all social. And what you're going to see is Wednesday, that social shifts over to Aquarius with the collective, but we're going to talk about that in the next CIRF report. For now, all of the influence seems to be up in Sidereal Aries. Okay. So this changes everything, but not really. I mean, Aries in a healthy manner is really determined, is honest, is, is straightforward and transparent, and out there doing their thing. Now there's downsides to the Aries. Sometimes they get overly aggressive, overly competitive, not really aware of how your own behaviors are affecting other people, impulsive, impatient. So those are the things we're going to try to, kind of watch for, but we're going to accentuate the strengths of Aries, which is be brave, be strong. And so let's look at, we can even seek, you go out and do your best if, for new relationships. And, if you're already in a relationship, protecting that relationship. And we're going to see that in the social media section for NationalDreamCenter tomorrow is this Roman soldier, big and brave. And that's the Aries fire. That's the sidereal fire. But with that connection piece, and we saw that in the Dreambot, this is where the connection's coming from, is the collective dream. So use that added energy to either cultivate and protect your deepest relationships. So for example, if relationship has some conflicts in there, which it might with this Mercury retrograde, this would be a good time in terms of protecting your relationship. This isn't, this soldier here doesn't represent going fighting with the person that you're in relationship with. The protecting there is going to get some counseling, for example, if your relationship is having those problems. So protecting the relationship is the key there, not fighting with them, not winning anything. Okay, protecting. All right, and then Interzension gets this because they have the current energy playbook, and this all do and don't become, Aries, being direct, confident, assertive, optimistic, honest, transparent, and brave, but don't wear these sandals into battle, and don't be overly competitive. Don't be easily angered. And don't lose your perspective on what's important in life. Don't lose your perspective on being too selfish or greedy during this period of time, because that kind of goes with confidence and assertive. We tend to get a little bit greedy. We see this in our quote unquote democratic society, which is not, whatever. So anyway, that's the influence. The influence is being out there, socializing, knowing that Mercury is in retrograde. So just be patient with yourself, being honest. That's where we get into these traps, especially the Aries trap, is that you try to think too much before you talk. And that's going to be hazardous in the Mercury retrograde. So more feel your way to communication, using your power to cultivate and protect a relationship. I think you'll do fine. And then we'll see what this the Wednesday Venus thing is coming down the pike. So we'll see what the Dreambot says, and it's about collective relationships. So we'll see what the collective dreamers have a say on that, and see what the influence is. So everything's exciting. And hope you're enjoying your Mercury retrograde. That lasts until the 28th. All right. And keep in mind the Sun and Mercury are headed for a collision, and they will pass each other on the 14th. So Thursday, we're going to see that in our next surf report as well. So lots of cool things coming down the pike, and don't miss a single one. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the little bell afterwards so that you don't miss any of these surf reports. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode on Tuesday evening.